Greek Myths, Part 1. The Rise of Zeus. From a secret birth to a 10-year war that changed the world. How he defeated the Titans and Beckham, the king of all gods.
The beginning and the first, fear, long, long ago, before the world we know, there was only chaos. Chaos was a big, dark, empty space. Nothing was there. Then, slowly, things began to change. From chaos came the earth. We call her Gaia. Gaia was beautiful and strong. Then came the sky, called Uranus. Mountains rose high, and the deep blue sea appeared. Soon the sun, the moon, and many bright stars filled the sky. Uranus, the sky, and Gaia, the earth, were together. They had many children. These children were very big and strong. They were called the Titans. There were many Titan brothers and sisters. They were the first great powers in the new world. But Uranus was not a happy father. He looked at his strong children, the Titans, and he felt afraid. They are so powerful, he thought. One day, one of them will want to be the king instead of me. This fear grew in his heart, so Uranus did a terrible thing. He took each of his Titan children and hid them deep inside the earth, in dark, secret places. Gaia, their mother, was very sad. Her children were prisoners. Cronus, the new king, one of the Titans, was named Cronus. He was brave and stronger than his brothers. He did not want to stay a prisoner. He listened to his mother Gaia's sadness. Cronus decided to fight his father, Uranus. It was a big fight, but Cronus won. He became the new king of the world. Uranus was gone, and Cronus was free. His Titan brothers and sisters were also free. Cronus married Rhea, one of his Titan sisters. Rhea was a kind goddess. Cronus and Rhea began to have children. Their children were not Titans. They were new gods and goddesses. First came Hestia, then Demeter and Hera. Then came Hades, and then Poseidon. These were 5 beautiful and powerful children. But a strange thing happened. Cronus started to feel the same fear his father, Uranus, had felt. He thought, my children are strong. What if one of them wants to take my place as king? Just like I took my father's place. This fear grew bigger every day. Cronus did not want to lose his power. So, he did something even more terrible than his father. As each baby was born, Cronus took the baby and swallowed it whole. One by one, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon disappeared into their father's stomach. Rhea was heartbroken. She cried and cried, but Cronus did not listen. The secret baby. Rhea was going to have another baby, her 6th child. She thought, I cannot let Cronus eat this baby too. I must save this child. She made a secret plan. Rhea went to a lonely island called Crete. There, in a hidden cave on a mountain, she gave birth to her new son. She named him Zeus. Rhea loved Zeus very much. She wanted to protect him. So she took a big stone from the mountain. She wrapped the stone in baby clothes. Then she went back to Cronus. Here is our new baby, she said sadly, giving him the wrapped stone. Cronus did not look closely. He was eager to get rid of this new threat. He took the stone and swallowed it, thinking it was his child. He did not know he was tricked. Baby Zeus was safe in the cave on Crete. Kind nymphs, who were like nature spirits, took care of him. They fed him special milk from a magic goat named Amalthea. Zeus grew up strong and healthy in the secret cave. He played in the forests and mountains of Crete, far away from his cruel father. He did not know about his brothers and sisters, or about his father's terrible secret. The truth and the plan. Zeus grew into a strong young god. One day, Rhea came to visit him. She told him the truth about his father, Cronus. She told him about his 5 brothers and sisters trapped inside Cronus. Zeus was very angry and sad. "This is not right," he said. "My brothers and sisters must be free. My father must pay for what he did." Zeus decided he would fight Cronus, but he knew he needed help. First, he needed to free his siblings. Rhea helped him. She knew a special drink. It was made of wine and mustard. Rhea gave this drink to Cronus. She said, "My dear husband, try this new drink. It is very good." Cronus drank it all. Suddenly he felt very sick. He started to cough, and then, one by one, he vomited up his children. First Hestia, then Demeter, then Hera, then Hades, and finally Poseidon. They were not babies anymore. They were fully grown gods and goddesses, strong and powerful. They were surprised to be free. They thanked Zeus, their brave younger brother. Now there were 6 young gods ready to face their father. The Great War, Titanomachy. The time for the big war had come. It was called the Titanomachy. The war between the new gods led by Zeus and the old Titans led by Cronus. Many Titans joined Cronus because he was their king. But some Titans thought Cronus was wrong, and they helped Zeus. The war was very long and very hard. It lasted for 10 whole years. The earth shook with their battles. Mountains crumbled, and the seas roared. The gods fought from Mount Olympus, a high mountain. The Titans fought from another mountain, Mount Arthrus. Zeus threw thunderbolts that he could make with his power. His brothers Poseidon and Hades also had great powers. Poseidon controlled the sea, and Hades had power over the underworld. The gods were younger and had a strong reason to fight for freedom and justice. Zeus was a clever leader. He also freed other creatures that Cronus had imprisoned, like the Cyclopes, one-eyed giants, and the Hecatonchires, 100-handed ones. They were grateful and helped Zeus by making him powerful weapons, like his thunderbolts. Finally, after 10 long years of fighting, the gods won the war. They were stronger and more united. Cronus and the Titans who fought with him were defeated. Zeus and his brothers and sisters did not kill them. Instead, they sent them far, far away. They threw them down into Tartarus. Tartarus was a very deep, dark, and gloomy prison under the earth. It was as far below the earth as the sky was above it. The defeated Titans were locked there forever. A new king and new battles. With the Titans gone, the world was peaceful for a short time. Zeus was the new king. He and his brothers, Poseidon and Hades, decided to share the world. Zeus became the king of the sky and the king of all gods and mortals. Poseidon became the king of the seas. Hades became the king of the underworld, the land of the dead. But their fight was not completely over. Soon, new enemies appeared. They were the giants, another group of very big and strong creatures, born from Gaia, who was angry that her Titan children were imprisoned. This new war was called the Gigantomachy, the war against the giants. This war was also long and difficult. The gods had to fight hard again. But with their strength and courage, the gods won again. After all these great battles, Zeus was truly the ruler of the entire world. He, his brothers, his sisters, and their children, the new generation of gods, made their home on top of Mount Olympus. It was a beautiful place, high above the clouds. From Mount Olympus, Zeus and the other Olympian gods watched over the world, ruling with wisdom and power, and a new age began.
Greek Myths Part 2: The Three Sisters of Destiny. The story of the Moirathi three sisters who control all life and death in Greek mythology. Arian's journey as fate spins, measures, and cuts the thread of his life.
Welcome to Listen While Read. Today's story is about three sisters who control every life, from beginning to end. Meet Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos, the fates of Greek myth. Follow the journey of a boy named Arian, whose life is spun, measured, and finally ended by destiny itself. The Keepers of Destiny. In the ancient world of myths and legends, there were three very powerful sisters. They were known as the Moirai, or the Fates. Their names were Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. These three sisters had a very important job. They decided the destiny of every person, and even the gods. No one, not even the mighty Zeus, king of the gods, could change what the fates decided. The three sisters lived in a quiet, mysterious place, far from the noise of the world. Some said it was a deep cave, lit by a strange, soft light. Others imagined a hidden chamber in the stars. Here they worked day and night. They were always busy, for life never stopped, and destiny was always being made. They were older than most gods, and their power was absolute. Clotho, the youngest sister, was the spinner. Lachesis, the middle sister, was the measurer. And Atropos, the eldest and most serious, was the one who cut the thread. Together they held the lives of all, beings in their hands, through the delicate threads they controlled. Clotho, the spinner of beginnings. Clotho often smiled as she worked. Her task was to spin the thread of life. When a new baby was born, anywhere in the world, Clotho would take her spindle and begin to spin a new, fresh thread. Each thread was unique. Some were bright and golden, some were simple and plain, some were strong, and some were delicate. One day, Clotho picked up a special tuft of glowing wool. "Ah," she whispered, her voice like the gentle breeze. "A new life is beginning. A little boy." She began to spin, and a beautiful, silvery thread started to form. This thread was for a baby named Arian. He was born in a small village by the sea. His parents were happy and held him close. They did not know about Clotho, but her thread was now connected to their son. Clotho spun the thread carefully. It was the start of Arian's life, his very first moments. The thread represented his breath, his heart beating, his chance to live. "Welcome to the world, little Arian," Clotho murmured as the thread grew longer. She then passed the beginning of the thread to her sister, Lachesis. Lachesis, the measurer of the path. Lachesis took the silvery thread from Clotho. Her face was thoughtful. Lachesis had a special measuring staff. With this staff, she decided how long each life would be and what kind of experiences the person would have. She looked at the thread of Arian. "Let us see what destiny awaits. This one," she said. Lachesis didn't just decide the length. She also wove in the important moments of lifetimes of joy, moments of sadness, challenges to overcome, and people to meet. She would gently pull the thread, then stretch it, then let it fall into patterns. As she measured Arian's thread, she saw many possibilities for him. He will love the sea, like his village, she decided. He will be a good fisherman, brave and kind. She measured out a portion for his childhood, learning to walk, playing with other children, listening to stories from the old people in his village. Then she measured more for his youth, his first fishing trips, his friendships, perhaps a special love. Lachesis' expression was calm. She chose from all the paths that could be and set one true path for Arion. She did not make it too long nor too short, but just as it was meant to be. Arion's journey, and so Arion's life unfolded, just as Lachesis had measured. He grew up in his village by the sea. As a boy, he loved to watch the waves and help the fishermen. He learned to swim before he could read. His laughter was as bright as the sun on the water. His thread, unseen by him, guided his steps. As a young man, Arion became a skilled fisherman. He had his own boat. He was known for his courage. He would sail out farther than others to find fish for his village. He found happiness in simple things. A good catch, a song with friends, the quiet evenings looking at the stars. He fell in love with a kind girl from his village named Lyra, and they married. They had children, and Arion taught them about the sea. Sometimes, Arion faced storms and dangers. His boat was small, and the sea was big and powerful. There were days of worry and days of little food. These were the challenges Lachesis had woven into his thread. But Arion was strong. He always found a way, helped by his clever mind and brave heart. He never knew that his path was already chosen, measured carefully by a distant, powerful goddess, Atropos, the end of the thread. While Clotho spun new threads and Lachesis measured them, the third sister, Atropos, watched. Atropos was always quiet and serious. Her eyes missed nothing. She held a pair of sharp, shining scissors in her hands. Her name meant the unyielding, or the inevitable, because no one could stop her when the time came. Atropos watched Arion's silvery thread. She saw it pass through Lachesis' hands. She saw it grow with his life, with his joys and his struggles. She knew, from the moment Lachesis finished measuring, exactly where the thread would end. She did not hurry. She did not feel sad or happy. It was her duty, her part in the great order of the universe. Years passed for Arion. He lived his life. He became an old man. His hair turned white like the sea foam. He had grandchildren who loved to listen to his stories about the sea. He had lived a full life, the life Lachesis had assigned to him. His thread, once strong and silvery, was now becoming thinner and shorter. Atropos watched it closely. Her hand tightened on her scissors. The time was drawing near. The final cut and the eternal cycle. One evening, Arion was sitting by the sea, watching the sunset. He felt tired, but peaceful. He had lived a good life. He thought of his family, his friends, and all his adventures on the sea. He smiled. He did not know that, in that moment, his thread had reached its final measured length. In their distant chamber, Atropos looked at Arion's thread. It was time. Lachesis nodded slowly. Clotho looked on with gentle eyes, ready to spin new threads for new lives. Atropos raised her sharp scissors. With a small, quiet snip, she cut the thread. In his village. Arion closed his eyes for the last time. His life was over. The Moirai, the three sisters of fate, did not pause. There were always more threads to spin, more lives to measure, and more threads to cut. Clotho reached for new wool. Lachesis prepared her staff. Atropos kept her scissors ready. This was the great cycle of life and death, a pattern they wove. For eternity, a destiny that shaped every story in the world, from the smallest creature to the greatest hero. And so their work continued, endless and unchanging.
Greek Myths Part 3: Prometheus and the Theft of Fire. How Prometheus gave fire to humans and paid a high price. This story explores bravery, sacrifice, and the power of knowledge.
Welcome to Listen While Read. This is the story of Prometheus, the titan who gave fire to humans. He broke Zeus's rule to help people live better lives. But his gift came with a terrible punishment. Listen and read to discover how one act of kindness changed the world, and what it cost. A world of gods and mortals, long ago. When the world was young, gods and goddesses lived on Mount Olympus. This was a beautiful, high mountain, hidden in the clouds. Zeus was the king of all the gods. He was very powerful. He had a big palace and gave many wonderful gifts to the other gods. They had power, magic, and everything they wanted. Down on Earth lived the humans. Humans were new and not very strong. They lived in dark caves. They were often cold and hungry. They did not have many tools. Life was hard for them. Zeus and the other gods on Mount Olympus did not pay much attention to these humans. They are not important, Zeus thought. But there was one titan who cared about the humans. His name was Prometheus. A titan was an older kind of god. Prometheus was very clever and had a kind heart. He often watched the humans. From afar, he saw them shivering in the cold. He saw them eating raw food because they had no fire. He felt very sorry for them. Poor humans, Prometheus thought. They need help. They deserve something good too. The plan and the theft. Prometheus wanted to give humans a special gift. He thought and thought. What is the best gift for them, he wondered. Then he had an idea. Fire. Fire will keep them warm, he thought. With fire, they can cook their food. They can make tools. Fire will change their lives. But fire was a secret of the gods. Zeus did not want humans to have fire. He thought it would make them too powerful. Prometheus knew Zeus would be angry, but his heart ached for the humans. He decided to be brave. I must do this for them, he said to himself. So Prometheus made a secret plan. He knew that Hephaestus, the god of fire and blacksmiths, had a workshop on Mount Olympus. Hephaestus made thunderbolts for Zeus and many other wonderful things using his special fire. Prometheus decided to go to this workshop. He found a long, hollow stalk of a fennel plant. This plant was light and easy to carry. Quietly, Prometheus climbed Mount Olympus. He moved like a shadow. He did not want any god to see him. He reached Hephaestus's workshop. The fires were burning brightly. Hephaestus was busy working. Prometheus carefully went near one of the fires. He quickly put the end of the hollow fennel stalk into the flames. A small piece of burning coal caught inside the stalk. He had the fire. The gift to humans. Prometheus carefully carried the hidden fire down from Mount Olympus. He hurried to the world of humans. He found a group of humans huddled together in a cold, dark cave. They looked scared and weak. "Do not be afraid," Prometheus said gently. He showed them the glowing ember inside the fennel stalk. "I have brought you a gift from the gods. This is fire." The humans looked at the small flame with wonder. They had never seen anything like it. Prometheus showed them how to use the fire. He showed them how to add dry wood to make the fire bigger. Soon a warm, bright fire was burning in the cave. The humans felt its warmth. They smiled. For the first time, they were not cold. Prometheus showed them how to cook meat over the fire. The food tasted much better. He showed them how fire could keep wild animals away at night. He also showed them how they could use fire to shape metal and make tools. The humans were very happy. They thanked Prometheus again and again. "This gift is wonderful," they cried. "You are our friend." Life for humans began to change. They built better homes. They made better tools. They were no longer so afraid of the dark or the cold. Zeus's anger up on Mount Olympus. Zeus soon noticed something different. He saw smoke rising from the human villages. He saw the glow of fires at night. "What is this?" Zeus roared. "How did the humans get fire?" He was very, very angry. He knew that fire was a powerful gift, and he had not given it to them. The other gods were afraid of Zeus's anger. Soon, Zeus found out who had helped the humans. "Prometheus!" he shouted. His voice was like thunder. "He dared to disobey me. He stole fire from Hephaestus's workshop and gave it to those weak humans." Zeus's anger was terrible. He decided that Prometheus must be punished. "He will learn what it means to challenge the king of the gods," Zeus declared. He called for Hephaestus. "You must make strong chains," Zeus commanded. "Very strong chains, made of metal that cannot be broken." The terrible punishment, Zeus ordered Prometheus to be taken to the Caucasus Mountains. These were high, lonely mountains, far away from everyone. There, on a tall, bare rock, Prometheus was chained. Hephaestus himself had to chain Prometheus. He felt sad because Prometheus was his friend, but he had to obey Zeus. The chains were thick and heavy. Prometheus could not move. He was alone, cold, and helpless. But Zeus's punishment was not finished. It was even more cruel. Every day, Zeus sent a giant eagle to Prometheus. This eagle was fierce and had sharp claws and a strong beak. Every morning, the eagle would fly to the rock. It would land on Prometheus and tear at his body. The eagle would eat Prometheus's liver. It was terrible pain. Because Prometheus was a titan and immortal, he could not die. Every night, his liver would grow back, and every morning the eagle would return to eat it again. Day after day, year after year, Prometheus suffered this horrible torture. He was brave. He did not cry out often. He knew he had helped humans, and this thought gave him some strength. But the pain was immense. Freedom at last, Prometheus remained chained to the rock for a very, very long time. Some say it was 30 years. Others say it was much longer. He suffered alone, with only the wind and the eagle for company. He never regretted helping humans, but his suffering was great. One day, a great hero came to the Caucasus Mountains. His name was Hercules. Hercules was the son of Zeus and a human woman. He was famous for his incredible strength and bravery. He was on a journey, doing many difficult tasks. As Hercules traveled through the mountains, he saw Prometheus chained to the rock. He saw the giant eagle attacking him. Hercules was shocked by the terrible sight. He felt great pity for Prometheus. This is a cruel punishment, Hercules thought. No one deserves to suffer like this. Even though Prometheus was being punished by his father, Hercules decided he had to help. When the eagle came the next day, Hercules took out his bow and arrow. He was a great archer. He aimed carefully and shot the eagle. The giant bird fell from the sky, dead. Then Hercules used his mighty strength. He pulled and pulled at the heavy chains. With a loud crack, the chains broke. Prometheus was free at last. Prometheus was weak, but he was grateful. "Thank you, brave Hercules," he whispered. "You have saved me from this endless pain." Hercules helped Prometheus down from the rock. Later, Zeus eventually forgave Prometheus, partly because Hercules asked him to, and partly because Prometheus knew a secret about Zeus's future that Zeus wanted to know. The gift of fire stayed with the humans. They never forgot Prometheus. He was the Titan who loved them and suffered for them, bringing them the light and warmth that changed their world forever.
Greek Myths Part 4: Pandora's Jar. This is the famous story of Pandora and her mysterious jar. Learn what happened when she opened it, and how one molite hope remained.
In the time of the gods, long, long time ago, the world was very different. The gods lived high on a bright mountain called Olympus. They were very powerful and had many gifts. People lived on the earth. Life was simple. The people did hard work every day. They did not have many of the things we have now. They did not have warm fires or cooked food. They lived with nature and did their best to survive. One kind god, Prometheus, loved the people. He watched them from afar and saw that they were cold and hungry. He could see their hard work and felt great pity for them. Prometheus thought that the people deserved a kind gift. He believed that even a small gift could change their lives and bring hope to their hearts. Soon, he decided to help them. Prometheus climbed down from Olympus. He walked over rough hills and dark forests. He searched for a special gift. In a hidden cave, he found a small, bright flame. The flame burned on a cool stone. It was the fire of life. With care, Prometheus took the flame in his strong hands. He kept it safe and wrapped it in a piece of cloth. Then he went back to the people. When the people saw the fire, they were amazed. They had never seen such warmth and light before. That night, a warm glow filled the small homes. People could cook their food and warm themselves. The fire changed their lives. Around the fire, they told simple stories, sang soft songs, and felt hope for the future. Prometheus had given a precious gift that would help them survive in a hard world. But not everyone was happy with this gift for the people. Zeus, the king of the gods, was very angry. He believed that certain powers should belong only to the gods. Zeus did not like that the humble people had fire. He thought that the people should live without such power. Zeus felt that the balance between gods and humans was upset. He decided that he must bring a new challenge to the world. Zeus planned to show the people and the gods the true power of his warning. The plan of Zeus sat on his golden throne on Olympus. His eyes looked dark and fierce as he thought of Prometheus's actions. He did not forget the gift of fire. Zeus thought that he must teach the humans a lesson. He wanted to punish them and also punish Prometheus for his disobedience. Zeus spoke to the other gods in a strong and deep voice. He said, "The people do not deserve this gift. I will bring a new challenge that will remind them who is in charge. I want you to help me." The gods listened carefully, even though some of them felt sad. They knew that Zeus was the king, and they must obey his orders. Zeus then called Hephaestus, the god of fire and metalwork. Hephaestus was kind and careful. Zeus gave him an order. Make a new woman out of clay and water. Make her beautiful, but let her be the beginning of a challenge for the people. He told Hephaestus that this new woman would become the key to my plan of revenge against humanity. Hephaestus understood that the order was hard, but he began to work with steady hands. Hephaestus took soft red clay from the earth and mixed it with clear water. He kneaded the clay with care, day and night. He shaped the clay slowly until it had the form of a woman. He made her face kind and gentle. He made her eyes soft like calm water. At last, Hephaestus finished his work. The woman looked beautiful and full of mystery. When the gods saw the new creation, they were surprised. Zeus smiled and said, "She is very beautiful. I will name her Pandora." In Greek, Pandora means all gift, because each god will give her a special gift. The word was chosen because every god had given her a present. In that moment, the fate of the world began to change. The gifts of the gods after Pandora was made. The gods gathered around her. One by one, they gave her gifts that would change her life. First came Athena, the goddess of wisdom. Athena put a small light of wisdom into Pandora's heart. She said, "You will understand the world and see what is true." Pandora's eyes shone with a new light as she listened to Athena's kind words. Next, the beautiful goddess Aphrodite came forward. With a gentle smile, Aphrodite gave Pandora the gift of beauty. She touched her cheek and whispered, "Your face will be as beautiful as the clear sky. Your smile will bring hope to those who see you." Pandora felt warm inside. She looked at her reflection and saw a soft glow in her eyes. Then Hermes, the god of messages and travel, stepped closer. He touched Pandora's hand and gave her a spark of cleverness. He said, "Today, you will learn to speak and think quickly. You will find your way in the world with your wit." Pandora felt a small rush in her mind as she heard Hermes's promise. The gifts made her feel special. Other gods gave their simple gifts one by one. Some gave a warm heart, and others gave a kind laugh. Soon, Pandora was filled with many talents. She had wisdom, beauty, and a little bit of cleverness. All the gods had given her a piece of themselves. That is why Zeus had named her Pandora, a name that means all gifts. It was a fitting name for a woman who held many secrets. Finally, Zeus gave Pandora one last gift. He gave her a small jar. The jar was made of fine clay and was very simple to look at. Zeus looked at her with serious eyes. He said, "Keep this jar safe. Under no condition should you ever open it." His voice was deep and full of warning. Pandora listened. She held the jar close, knowing that it was very important. In her heart, she wondered about this jar. Its plain surface hid a secret that only Zeus knew. Pandora goes to Epimetheus Zeus, then sent Pandora to a small village on Earth. There, she met a kind and simple man named Epimetheus. Epimetheus was the brother of Prometheus. A long time ago, Prometheus had given the gift of fire to the people. He had also warned his brother. Prometheus had said, "Do not accept any gift from Zeus. They might cause you trouble." Epimetheus had listened to his wise brother, but his heart was gentle and full of hope. When Pandora came to Epimetheus's home, he felt a strong warmth in his heart. He smiled when he saw her. "Welcome," he said. "You are very beautiful and kind. I am happy you came." Pandora smiled back with a mix of joy and sadness. She carried the jar with her, and its secret was heavy on her heart. But Epimetheus saw her gifts, the bright eyes, the soft smile, and the clever look in her face. He believed that she was a blessing from the gods. At first, life was calm in Epimetheus's small home. The two of them shared simple meals and talked for many hours. They walked outside, hand in hand, along old stone paths. The village was quiet and full of nature. The green trees and gentle wind made life seem almost like a beautiful dream. Pandora's presence made the home warm and bright. Yet every day, Pandora kept the jar near her. It rested on a wooden table by the window. Even in happy moments, the jar was there as a reminder of Zeus's words. Epimetheus remembered his brother Prometheus's warning. Deep in his heart, he felt a little worry about any gift from Zeus. He did not ask Pandora many questions about the jar. Instead, he trusted her and the beauty of her gifts. But Pandora often looked at the jar with a mixed feeling of fear and wonder. She would sit by it in the quiet hours of the morning. "What is inside?" she whispered softly to herself. Her heart was filled with a question that she could not answer. The first days of her life with Epimetheus were happy. They helped each other in the small garden. They worked slowly, planting new seeds and caring for the earth. They cooked food over a small fire, and sometimes they sang simple songs. Epimetheus told her stories about the old times. He spoke of the brave gifts and of the quiet beauty of the land. Pandora listened with gentle eyes. Yet in her quiet moments, she could not forget the jar and its unknown secret, the warning and the growing curiosity. Every day, Pandora remembered Zeus's warning. "Do not open the jar," his deep voice had said. She obeyed his command at first. She kept the jar close and did not try to look inside. But the jar was both plain and strange. It was not decorated with bright colors or patterns. Its surface was smooth. And yet it called to her mind with a silent mystery. Many evenings passed. When the sky turned from blue to gray, Pandora sat alone in the quiet of their little home. She looked at the jar and thought about its secret. "What if I knew what is inside?" she asked herself softly. Her heart beat fast with both fear and a spark of curiosity. The jar looked so simple, and yet it was filled with the promise of a hidden secret. She remembered the gifts and the kind words of Athena, Aphrodite, and Hermes. Their gifts filled her with strength. Still, the jar was a dark door to another world. Sometimes, when the wind blew softly at night, Pandora felt as if the jar whispered her name. During these quiet moments, she felt that something important was hidden in the jar. Even though she knew she must obey Zeus's order, she could not shake the feeling that she must know the secret. She thought, will I ever learn the truth? What if I open the jar and find something that might help me or hurt me? These ideas troubled her as she lay in bed and listened to the soft crackle of the fire. Prometheus sometimes saw the look of worry in Pandora's eyes. He would ask in a soft voice, "Is everything all right, dear one?" But Pandora only smiled gently and said, "I am fine. I only remember Zeus's words." Prometheus, who cared deeply for her, tried to comfort her. But inside, she felt a strong pull of curiosity. Every day, the jar looked at her from its place on the table. And little by little, the secret of the jar grew in her heart. The fateful day, one quiet morning, the sky was clear, and the sun shone through the window of their small room. Pandora woke up as usual and went to the table. The jar sat there, silent and small. Today, however, her heart felt stronger. In the silence of the morning, Pandora felt her curiosity push her to act. Slowly, she sat down and took the jar in her trembling hands. She looked at the jar many times. What is inside? She wondered. She remembered Zeus's warning with a heavy heart. But something inside her whispered that she must know the secret. Her hands shook as she lifted the lid. For a long, sad moment, Pandora hesitated. Her heart beat loudly in her chest. She thought of the gifts that the gods had given her, and she remembered Prometheus's kind smile. At last, curiosity overcame her fear. With a deep breath, Pandora slowly opened the lid of the jar. In that very instant, a cold wind burst from the jar. A dark, smoky mist spread out quickly, filling the small room. It was as if the jar had come alive and decided to let go of its hidden powers. Pandora gasped and dropped the jar onto the wooden table. The dark mist flew out, disappearing into the morning air. Outside, the wind began to howl. The smoke spread over the fields, over the small village, and into the open sky. Pandora stood frozen in shock. She could not believe what she had done. In one simple moment, a great and terrible change had taken place in the world. Her eyes filled with tears as she realized that she had released many unknown evils into the world. The evils that flew. Free when Pandora opened the jar, many dark things came out. They were not things that you could see easily. They were feelings and troubles. First, anger and hate spread over the land. People who had once been kind now felt a cold, sharp anger in their hearts. Soon, war began among many groups. Old friends and families fought over small problems. The air filled with harsh words and rough blows. Then, the pain of sickness flew out of the jar. A strange, dark force made people feel weak and ill. Many fell to a deep pallor, and the sound of their coughs filled the night. Children felt a sadness that was hard to understand. The people who once hoped for peace now had to fight against this strong sickness. The gentle light of life was dimmed by sorrow and pain. The jar also released hunger and death. The land, once full of green plants and clear water, became harsh. Crops failed, and many people did not have enough to eat. Families felt the cold hand of loss as the number of their loved ones diminished. The suffering spread like a dark cloud over all of the earth. Every day, news of these troubles reached the small villages. People looked to the sky with fear. They did not know how to stop the evils that had come from Pandora's jar. Pandora walked through the village in despair. She saw many faces filled with grief and anger. She saw children crying and old people in pain. In every home, the shadow of the dark forces made life hard. The day was filled with sorrow that no one could easily cure. She remembered the warning she had ignored and felt deep regret. The weight of the evils made her heart break with sorrow. Yet as the dark mist spread, there was one very small light that did not leave. When all the evils had flown out of the jar, a little lamp of light stayed behind. It was not bright at first. It was a small, soft glow. This glow was hope. Even though the jar had released anger, sickness, hunger, and pain into the world, hope remained there. The hope was like a tiny ember, warm and gentle. It was the only thing that could help the people in the dark times ahead. A world transformed. The evils that had flown from the jar brought great changes. People learned that life was now full of troubles. They struggled to understand why these dark forces had come. Each day the people worked hard with a heavy heart. They tried to build shelter against the cold wind and the dark mist. The simple life that they had known was now mixed with sorrow and hardship. In the villages, many people gathered around small fires. They talked about the strange day when the air had changed completely. Mothers held their children close, and fathers spoke softly about the old peaceful days. But even in those quiet moments, each person felt the weight of the evils they could not see. They did not know where to find comfort in a world that had become so troubled. In the midst of the fear and anger, a small light began to spread. It grew from the hope that had remained in the jar. Some kind people believed that this hope could bring change. They gathered in small groups and prayed for better days. They shared their food and their shelter. They told each other that even when the world was dark, hope could guide them through. Prometheus watched all this with a heavy heart. He felt a great sadness when he saw Pandora standing alone, remembering her act of curiosity. He knew that Prometheus had warned him to trust no gift from Zeus, and now he saw that trouble had come as a result. The wisdom of the old warnings shined through his heart as he worked with others to make life a little easier every day. Slowly, the people began to care more for one another, and the small light of hope grew a little brighter with each kind act. People learned hard lessons during those troubled days. They learned that a small act, even if it came from curiosity, could change the whole world. They learned that the anger, sickness, war, and hunger would always be with them. Yet even in the deepest dark times, the spark of hope reminded them that they could still begin again. Every morning, when the sun rose and chased away a little bit of the dark, the people whispered thanks for the tiny light of hope that stayed in their hearts. The land healed very slowly. The fields that had been scorched by sorrow began to grow small green shoots. The water that had tasted bitter returned to a sweet, clear taste. The people, though still troubled by the evils, worked with their hands and hearts to restore their villages. The hope left in the jar shone inside every home. And every time a dark cloud came over the land, people remembered that a gentle light still burned inside them. life after the jar time went by, and the evils that Pandora had released remained in the world. War, sorrow, and pain caused many hardships, but the hope that stayed behind in the jar grew slowly in the hearts of the people. Stories spread from village to village about the day when a woman named Pandora had opened a jar. The story was told in simple words so all could understand the lesson. Parents told the tale to their children. They said, "Never forget that. Even when we make mistakes, hope remains." Pandora herself felt deep regret every day. She took long walks alone through the quiet village paths. In the early mornings, she remembered the hot flame of fire that Prometheus had given to the people. That gift had brought warmth and light to the dark nights. But her own curiosity had brought many troubles. Each step reminded her of the day when she opened the jar. She understood that her life was now hard and filled with sorrow. Yet, when she looked into the eyes of young children or heard the soft words of kindness from Prometheus, she saw the small light of hope again. Prometheus and Pandora worked together to build a new life, even with many challenges. They shared the few blessings that remained with them. They helped their neighbors and cared for the sick. In the hard times, the people of the village gathered to tell stories of hope. In these gatherings, they also remembered the warnings of old and the consequences of their actions. Prometheus often said, "We must learn from our past. We must be kind and share hope, even when troubles come." His words were gentle and full of care. They reached the hearts of the young and the old alike. The gods watched from high on Olympus. Some of them felt sorrow for the troubles that had spread on earth. They looked at the people and wondered if they could help heal the world. A few kind gods sent small gifts that helped with healing. They brought healing herbs, clear water, and a little more warmth. Not all the evils could be taken away, but the kindness of the gods lit a slight brightness in the dark corners of the world. The hope that remained was like a small, steady flame that every person kept in their heart. Slowly, life moved forward. The dark days did not vanish, but the people learned to live with them. They built strong bonds with their neighbors and shared all the little joys they could find. They celebrated the soft light of a new morning. The small spark of hope became the focus of many lives. Every act of kindness, every helping hand, and every warm smile was a sign that hope was stronger than all the evils combined. The story of Pandora and the jar was told for many years. It was a story of gifts and warnings, of wonder and regret. Every time a child asked about the jar, the elders would explain that the jar had once held many evils. They said, when Pandora opened the jar, she released anger, war, illness, hunger, and all the troubles we see today. But do not be sad, for she also left us hope. That small light was the last and the most precious gift. It became a promise that every dark night could be followed by a bright morning.
Greek Myths Part 5: Persephone and Hades. Persephone is taken to the wonder world by Hades. Hermaphroditor Demeter searches for her. This story explains that age of seasons.
A beautiful maiden and a lonely king, long ago. In a world filled with gods and goddesses, lived a beautiful young maiden named Persephone. She was the daughter of Zeus, the king of all gods, and Demeter, the kind goddess of the harvest and farming. As Persephone grew, her beauty also grew. Her hair was like sunshine, and her laughter was like the sound of a clear stream. She loved flowers and sunny fields, far below the earth. In the dark and shadowy underworld, lived Hades. He was the brother of Zeus and the king of the dead. His kingdom was a gloomy and silent place. Hades was often lonely. One day, Hades came up from his dark kingdom for a short time. He saw Persephone playing in a meadow, picking flowers with her friends, the ocean nymphs. The sun shone on her golden hair, and she looked like the spirit of spring itself. When Hades saw Persephone, his lonely heart felt something new. He fell deeply in love with her beauty and her joyful spirit. She is so bright and full of life, he thought. She would bring light to my dark kingdom. He knew Demeter would never agree to let her daughter live in the underworld. So, Hades decided he had to take her. He made a secret plan. The missing flowers and a mother's grief. One sunny morning, Persephone was in a beautiful field. She was with her friends, the ocean nymphs, laughing and gathering colorful flowers. "Look at this one," she called, holding up a bright red poppy, "and this blue one." Her friends smiled, but Persephone wanted to find the most beautiful flower in the whole field. She wandered a little away from her friends, looking carefully at each bloom. Suddenly, she saw a narcissus flower. It was the most amazing flower she had ever seen. Its petals were white and gold, and it smelled wonderful. As Persephone reached out her hand to pick the beautiful narcissus, the earth beneath her feet began to shake. A big crack opened in the ground. Before she could scream, Hades appeared. He was riding in a golden chariot pulled by 4 black horses. He quickly grabbed Persephone, pulled her into his chariot, and disappeared back into the earth. The ground closed up, as if nothing had happened. Only the scattered flowers were left behind. Persephone cried and called for her mother, but no one heard her. Her friends looked for her, but she was gone. When Demeter found out her daughter was missing, she was heartbroken. She searched everywhere for Persephone, day and night. She called her name in the mountains and valleys. She asked everyone she met, "Have you seen my daughter Persephone?" But no one knew where she was. Demeter was so sad that she forgot about her work as the goddess of the harvest, a world without spring. Because Demeter was so full of grief, the earth began to suffer. The flowers wilted, and the trees lost their leaves. The crops in the fields stopped growing. The land became cold and barren. No food grew, and people and animals began to go hungry. The world became a sad, grey place without Demeter's joy and care. The other gods saw this and worried. For many days, Demeter searched. She carried a torch in each hand, looking for Persephone, even in the darkest night. Finally, Helios, the god of the sun, felt sorry for Demeter. Helios sees everything that happens on earth from his place in the sky. He told Demeter the truth. "Oh, Demeter," he said gently, "I saw what happened. It was Hades, king of the underworld. He took your daughter to his kingdom." Demeter was filled with anger and even more sadness. She went to Zeus, the king of the gods. "You must help me," she cried. "Hades has stolen our daughter. You must order him to bring Persephone back. If she does not return, I will never let the earth be green again. No plants will grow, and everyone will suffer." A message to the underworld. Zeus knew Demeter was serious. He saw how the earth was dying. He did not want all living things to perish. So, he decided to act. He called for Hermes, the messenger god. Hermes had winged sandals and could travel very fast, even to the underworld. "Hermes," Zeus commanded, "go to my brother Hades. Tell him he must release Persephone and send her back to her mother." Hermes flew down to the dark kingdom of Hades. He found Hades on his throne, with Persephone sitting sadly beside him. Hades had tried to be kind to Persephone. He gave her beautiful jewels and a throne of her own. But Persephone missed the sunshine, the flowers, and her mother. She did not eat or drink anything in the underworld because she was so unhappy. Hermes gave Zeus's message to Hades. Hades was not happy. He loved Persephone and did not want her to leave. But he knew he must obey Zeus's order. However, Hades was clever. Just before Persephone was about to leave with Hermes, Hades offered her some food. "You must be hungry, my dear," he said softly. "Have a little something before your long journey." He offered her a bright red pomegranate. Persephone, feeling a little hungry, and perhaps wanting to be polite, took the fruit and ate 6 small, juicy seeds. She did not know about an ancient rule of the underworld. A bittersweet reunion. Hermes brought Persephone back to the world of light. Demeter was waiting. When she saw her daughter, she ran to her and hugged her tightly. "Persephone, my child, you are back," Demeter cried with joy. The moment Demeter felt happiness again, the flowers started to bloom, the trees grew green leaves, and the crops in the fields began to grow. The world became warm and fruitful once more. Persephone was so happy to be with her mother again. They talked and laughed. But then Demeter asked, "My dear, did you eat any food in the underworld?" Persephone looked down. "Yes, mother," she said, quietly. "Just before I left, Hades gave me a pomegranate. I only ate 6 small seeds." When Demeter heard this, her joy turned to anger and despair. She knew the ancient rule. Anyone who eats or drinks in the underworld must return there. "Oh, no," she cried. "Hades has tricked us." She knew this meant Persephone could not stay with her forever. The agreement and the seasons, Demeter was very upset. She went to Zeus again. Zeus listened to both Demeter and Hades. He wanted to find a way to make everyone a little bit happy. He made a decision, a compromise. Persephone ate 6 pomegranate seeds. Zeus declared, so, for each seed she ate, she must spend 1 month of the year with Hades in the underworld. This meant Persephone would spend 6 months of the year with Hades as his queen in the underworld. The other 6 months, she could return to Earth and live with her mother, Demeter. Demeter was not completely happy, but it was better than losing her daughter forever. She agreed to Zeus's plan. Hades also agreed, as he would have Persephone with him for half the year. And so, it was decided. Every year, when it was time for Persephone to go down to the underworld, Demeter would become sad. As she mourned for her daughter, the leaves would fall from the trees, the weather would turn cold, and the land would rest. This was the time of autumn and winter. But when the 6 months were over, and Persephone returned to her mother, Demeter would be filled with joy. She would make the earth green and fruitful again. Flowers would bloom, birds would sing, and the sun would shine warmly. This was the time of spring and summer. And that is how, according to the ancient Greeks, the seasons came to be.
Greek Myths Part 6. The Naming of Athens. Athena and Poseidon both want to be the special god of a new city. They must give a gift. Bhutan Leon will win. Learn about their gifts. The Naming of Athens.
The city with no name. A very long time ago, in a beautiful land called Greece, there was a king. His name was Cecrops. He was the first king of a region called Attica. King Cecrops was a good king, and he built a wonderful new city. The city was on a hill close to the blue sea. The houses were strong and the streets were clean. King Cecrops was proud of his city, decided to give it his own name, called it Cecropia. The city of Cecropia was very beautiful. The sun shone almost every day. From the top of the hill, the people could see the sparkling water of the sea. They could see green fields and tall mountains far away. The news of this beautiful city traveled far. It even traveled to the home of the gods, Mount Olympus. The gods and goddesses looked down from their mountain home and saw Cecropia. They all thought it was the most beautiful city they had ever seen. Many of the gods wanted to be the special god of this city. A special god or a patron was very important. A patron protected the city from its enemies and helped its people. In return, the people of the city would build temples for the god and pray to them. The gods wanted to be the patron of Cecropia more than anyone else. The first was Poseidon. Poseidon was the great god of the sea. He was very powerful and strong. He had a long, dark beard and wild hair, like the waves of the ocean in a storm. He carried a big, 3-pointed spear called a trident. With his trident, he could start earthquakes and create giant waves. He was a very important god, and he was used to getting what he wanted. The second was Athena. Athena was the goddess of wisdom, art, and war. She was not loud and angry like Poseidon. She was calm, intelligent, and a great thinker. She was also a brave fighter, but she preferred to solve problems with smart plans, not with fighting. She was the favorite daughter of Zeus, the king of all the gods. A big argument. Poseidon and Athena started to argue. "This city should be mine," shouted Poseidon. His voice was like a loud wave crashing on the rocks. "I am the god of the sea. The city is near the sea. The people need a strong protector. I am strong. I will be their patron," Athena answered calmly. "Strength is not everything, Uncle Poseidon. The people of this city need wisdom to build. A great culture, they need skills to make beautiful things. I can teach them these things. I will be their patron." Their argument went on for days and weeks. On Mount Olympus, the other gods became tired of the noise. Poseidon and Athena argued at breakfast. They argued at lunch, argued at dinner. Finally, Zeus, the king of the gods, had enough. His voice was like thunder. "Stop this now," he boomed. Everyone on Mount Olympus became quiet. "You both want to be the patron of this city," Zeus said. "You cannot both have it. We must be fair. We will have a competition." Poseidon and Athena looked at Zeus. "A competition? What kind of competition?" Zeus explained his idea. "You will each give one gift to the city of Cecropia. The people of the city and their king, Cecrops, will decide. They will choose the gift that is best. The god who gives the best gift will become the patron of the city, and the city will take the name of that god." Poseidon smiled. He was very confident. He thought he knew the perfect gift. Athena also smiled, but it was a quiet, secret smile. She also had an idea. The day of the gifts. The next day was the competition. The sun was bright in a clear blue sky. King Cecrops told all his people to come. Everyone in the city, men, women, and children, walked together. They climbed up the highest hill in the city. Its tall flat rock was the most important place in Cecropia. From there, they could see everything. This hill was called the Acropolis. The people gathered and waited. They were excited and a little nervous. Who would be their patron? What gifts would the great gods bring? Soon 2 bright lights appeared in the sky. The lights came down and landed on top of the Acropolis. It was Poseidon and Athena. Poseidon stood tall and proud. He held his shiny trident. He looked at the crowd of people. "People of Cecropia," he shouted. "You are lucky, my Poseidon. The great ruler of the sea will give you my gift first." He walked to a large flat rock. He lifted his trident high above his head. The 3 sharp points looked like silver in the sunlight. With a great cry, he smashed the trident down onto the rock. Crack! The rock split open. And from the ground, water started to shoot up into the air. It was a spring of water. Oh, the water made a little pool on the dry rock. The people gasped. Water was a wonderful gift. Attica was a dry land. Sometimes there was no rain for a long time. This was called a drought. The drought was very dangerous. Without water, the plants died, the animals died, and people died. I give you the gift of water. Poseidon announced proudly, "With this spring, your city will never be thirsty. You will never have a drought. I am a great god, and this is a great gift." The people started to cheer. A spring of water. It was amazing. The young boy was very thirsty from the walk up the hill, ran to the new spring and put his hands in the water to take a drink. He took a big sip of the water. Then he made a strange face. "Yuck," he said, and he spat the water out of his mouth. His mother ran to him. "What is it? What is wrong?" she asked. "The water. Salty," the boy said. King Cecrops walked to the spring. He put his finger in the water and tasted it. He also made a face. The boy was right. The water was salty. It tasted exactly like the water from the sea. Poseidon was the god of the sea, so his spring gave seawater. The people stopped cheering. They started to whisper to each other. "It's salt water," one person said. "You cannot drink salt water. You cannot use it to water the plants in the fields," said a farmer. "Salt will kill them." Poseidon's gift looked wonderful, but it was not very useful. The people were very disappointed. Poseidon looked angry, but he said nothing. His gift was not as good as he thought. The gift of a tree. Now it was Athena's turn. She did not shout. She walked calmly to a piece of empty ground. She held her simple spear. She looked at the people with her kind, intelligent eyes. Then she gently pushed the point of her spear into the earth. She pulled her spear out. For a moment, nothing happened. The people watched. Poseidon laughed. Is that it? A hole in the ground? But then something amazing happened. From the small hole where her spear had touched the ground, a tiny green plant began to grow. Grew very fast. In just a few seconds, it became taller and taller. Branches grew from its sides, and they were covered in small, gray-green leaves. Little white flowers appeared on the branches. Soon, it was a beautiful, strong tree. On its branches were small green and black fruits. It was an olive tree. The people looked at the tree. It was beautiful, but was it a good gift? Athena began to speak. Her voice was not loud, but it was clear, and everyone listened. I give you.
The olive tree, she said. This gift will give you many things.
She pointed to the fruit.
It gives you food.
You can eat these olives. They will keep you from hunger. Then she took some of the olives and squeezed them in her hand. A golden liquid came out. This is olive oil, she said. You can use this oil to cook your food, and it will taste delicious. You can also put it in your lamps, and it will give you light in the dark. Finally, she touched the strong wood of the tree. When the tree is old, its wood will give you fuel for your fires to keep you warm in the winter. Can also use the wood to build your houses and your boats. Athena looked at the people. My gift does not appear with a loud noise, but it will help you for many, many years. It will give you food, light, and warmth. It is a gift of peace and prosperity. The city of Athena, the people were quiet. They thought about the two gifts. Poseidon's gift was big and fast, a spring of water, but it was salty water. It was not useful. Athena's gift was quiet and slow, a single tree. But this tree was a gift that kept giving. It gave food to eat. It gave oil for cooking and light. It gave wood for fire and building. It was a very useful gift. It was a very wise gift. King Cecrops looked at his people. They were all smiling and nodding. He knew which gift was better. The king turned to the gods. Poseidon, he said, with respect, your gift was powerful. But it is not the gift our city needs. Then he turned to Athena. Athena, he said, and he bowed his head. Your gift is wonderful. It is a gift of life and wisdom. The people of my city have chosen. We choose your gift. All the people started to cheer. They cheered loudly for Athena, Athena, Athena. Poseidon was furious. He gave a great shout of anger, turned into a ball of water, and disappeared. Athena smiled at the people. You have chosen wisely, she said. I will be your patron. I will protect your city. It will become famous in all the world for its art, its learning, and its democracy. And so, Athena became the special goddess of the city. And to honor her, King Cecrops and the people changed its name. It was no longer called Cecropia. It was now called Athens, after the goddess Athena. The story says that the competition happened on the hill of the Acropolis. Today, if you visit the Acropolis in the great city of Athens, you can still see an olive tree growing there. Some people say it is the very same tree that Athena planted so long ago, a living sign of her wise and wonderful gift.